The views and opinions of this program are those of the hosts, guests, and callers. There is substantial risk of loss in trading futures and options, which you should carefully consider prior to trading. As we continue our coverage from Commodity Classic in Denver, Colorado, joining us now for our weekly weather update. We're about a day late on our normal update, but it's okay. We've both been busy here at the trade show. Eric Snodgrass, who is back with Nutrien Ag Solutions. Right. Eric, hey, it's good to have you join me here in the Ag Market booth to take a look at the weather, buddy. How's the show been so far?
You know, this has been a good one. My personal preference is New Orleans just because of the food, but I'm having a good time here in Denver. Although last night when the rain started and the wind came through, wow, smokes, that was something. And that's, honestly, it's this big system that's trying to go east of us now, and it's going to make a lot of folks that need to leave here, we're going to have trouble getting those flights out. Thankfully, I think my flight's still on time. But I think by the time I land in Chicago, it's going to be pouring the rain with like 50-mile-an-hour winds. So fantastic. That's what I want to go home to.
I was going to say, did your weather radar go up a bit yesterday when that front moved into Denver? Because, I mean, it was a drastic change from when I walked into this convention center in the morning to when I walked out.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So the beginning of the conference, we're like 65, sunny. I'm like squinting everywhere. And then, man, last night, the wind's howling through my, my hotel windows. Just incredible. But, I mean, that's Front Plains. We get this all the time. And I'll be honest with you, Jesse. If you ask me what I want 7 more of these. We got blizzard warnings in Iowa right now. We've got severe thunderstorms going on in the south. We've got heavy rains in Iowa before the blizzard gets there. And it's going to rain in Illinois. It's going to hit Michigan, Indiana. I want 7 more of these before we have to do anything in the field. 7. If I could dial that up, man, there would be no dialogue about drought. We just would be done. We'd be done talking.
Well, and that's the thing is I've heard a lot of folks talk about drought, and I know you have as well here over the last couple of days. I mean, it is definitely a big concern as that calendar is getting closer and closer to spring planting time.
Well, and we're going into that part of the year with 2/3 of the country in some form of drought, and it never relented in the Southwest. We had a dust storm yesterday in Texas that left New Mexico that was probably big enough to cover the entire state of Iowa. It was huge. And then you have still deficits in the northern plains. And all the snow coming through parts of Nebraska into Iowa, clipping South Dakota. It's not hitting the rest. So the upper Midwest is still missing. The northern plains still missing. And until those holes get filled in, I'm going to worry about it until I don't have to worry about it. But I'll just tell you, I was walking up here with a guy from Kansas. He's like, November bought us a bunch of time, plenty of moisture. Eastern Kansas, they got everything. I am worried about western and central Kansas going forward. And I said, honestly, I am too. And I'll tell you this, if we get into May and it is blowing up with storms in central Kansas, then this whole narrative about drought is out the window. But if we get into May and I've yet to see big repeated storm events in Kansas, that tells me all the best weather in terms of severe weather is going to be in the southeast. It's going to be in Nashville, where you are. And you're going to see the Mississippi River flooding again, and we're going to continue to see these issues, whereas where the Missouri comes into the Mississippi, it's going to stay low. So St. Louis, believe it or not, the river depth, there, is 1 feet below low stage. In Memphis, it's 28 feet above low stage. That's the narrative. It's not just the haves and have-nots. It's the haves way too muches and the haves nothing at all. Those folks need to see that turn around. Maybe March can do it.
Yeah, maybe March can do it. And that's one of those things that, we can look longer term out. And I know you've been tracking La Nina and everything else. And you do such a great job looking at all these trends, but also we know these trends can shift on us in just a matter of a week. That's the thing.
The best thing you can do as a meteorologist and as someone who watches the markets is learn to fail fast. Like, okay, new evidence, we got to go with this. This has changed, and this is why it changed. And no, we didn't see it as well as we thought, but hey, we're going to tell you first when something does change. So I'll be honest. As I look at it, do I still have a narrative where I think there's a risk of drought spreading from the central United States toward the Mississippi? Yeah, but that evidence could change in March and April. And if I get my wish and we just get multiple storm systems in March, then all of a sudden the narrative shifts. We beat back the drought. We start to buy local moisture that can be recycled. And we get into a thunderstorm season that starts to, make thunderstorms. And if that is the case, then all of a sudden we aren't having this drought discussion. Now, I think in either case, Eastern Corn Belt's going to have tight winters. I think Tennessee, Kentucky, Indiana, Illinois, Ohio, I don't have a reason to say that we're not going to continue to push with an active go of it. And that's going to make things tight.
I've had some conversations with producers here at the show talking about the acreage battle, and they're obviously looking at it from a commodity market perspective. Yeah. But I wonder if drought is at play, could that change some producers' minds? Or is it the old narrative of, I think about plant the dust and the bins will bust?
Oh, yeah. So just to let you know, I've probably heard that phrase 35 times in the 48 hours I've been to Commodity Classic. And there is some truth to it.
Yeah.
Because if you end up buying rain in July, well, then who cares what you think?
Exactly.
This is just the situation where I'm worried about the opposite, especially in this central point. And so until I have evidence to overturn that narrative, I'm just going to sit here and I'll worry for you. I'll be honest. I think about it every single day, and you look at the forecast and hope you're wrong.
Yeah.
And that's telling me. Where I hope I'm right is actually South America. And I'll tell you something. South America's got some dryness in eastern Brazil. This is not Mato Grosso, but this is like Goiás, Tocantins, Bahia. It's about 20% of the Safrinha acres. But if that dryness that's there now comes back about a month from now, 5 weeks from now, we will be hitting them with dryness in a certain part of the Safrinha acres right when we're trying to put a crop in the ground here. And those two pieces of information, if timed well, could actually be something that, I'm looking over here at your screen showing the market what they did today, and it could go back to this, push, maybe heading back toward a spot where we want to see it. But I'll be honest, I'm putting too much pressure on the weather to be the main market story. And what have we learned the last 2 days? Global news is way bigger.
That is absolutely true. But weather is still an important fundamental in these markets. And, talking South America too, I know. What else are you tracking down there? We've seen a little bit of improvement in Argentina. It sounds like, but maybe not enough. I don't know. What else are you tracking in South America?
There's drought in northern Argentina. And then in the last 3 weeks, it started to flood out from southern Cordoba through La Pampa into Buenos Aires. Now that area, especially Buenos Aires, was really dry a month and a half ago. And now the conversation is, whoa, we've got way too much water coming in. What's that going to do to our middle and late planted crop? And so they're trying to question that. Southern Brazil is my wild card. I look at Southern Brazil, I'm like, things don't look bad in Southern Brazil. But if they all of a sudden start to take a turn, I don't care, too wet or too dry, but it's something off and normal, they get thrown to the mix as well. So I've been telling folks today, I said, if you ask me to define the sentiment around weather and markets, I would tell you that the most apt way to describe it is it feels spring-loaded. It feels like it's compressed, and I want to know, is it going to get let out easy, or is something just going to snap and it's going to pop? I don't know which direction, but I'll just say the tension. Can you feel the tension at Commodity Classic? I mean, I was just down at this meeting, and the questions I was getting asked, I'm like, folks, like you folks you're thinking hard about things, and I get it. Volatility is the name of the game this year, and we certainly have that in spades.
I would agree with you on that one. Final thoughts, anything else you are tracking weather-wise here this week?
Yeah, people are going to keep talking more about La Nina, and is La Nina fading? Absolutely. Is it pushing toward the central and western Pacific? It is. So it's already warmed up in the eastern Pacific. But that La Nina, it's going to play second fiddle to what happens in May and June in the Gulf of Alaska. So I'll just tell you, you're going to hear a lot about La Nina fading, but pay more attention to the Gulf of Alaska in about 2 to 3 months. That's going to be where we're going to have to watch. That will tell me if the atmosphere is up to some problematic shifts in losing momentum. And if it does, then all this drought narrative is going to come to a head.
I know folks can still go to agweather.com to get all your information. We had a few folks commenting on the YouTube channel wondering where some of your daily, weekly videos were the last couple of weeks.
I know.
Obviously, with the changeover, though.
Back on Nutrien's site. Yep. You can find my YouTube videos on agweather.com. There's just the media section. You can go see them. Or just go back to the Nutrien Ag Solutions Ag Forecast page. You can just Google or put into YouTube search Nutrien Ag Solutions. You'll find it immediately. Really easy to get subscribed. Yeah, it's been great. I love going back to that channel. We've got about 20,000 subscribers, and we get a lot of folks that just, I appreciate the fact they listen. I think it's great that my son doesn't get. He's like, why do people care what you have to say about the weather? I'm like, dude, I'm not 100% sure either, but if I can say something that gives them an edge, then I'll do it.
Yeah.
So it's all there. Yep, still.
Well, and I know you have a good partnership with the Ag Market, that team as well. So appreciate you swinging by here as we close out Commodity Classic again. agweather.com, ag-wx.com. Eric Snodgrass, Nutrien Ag Solutions. Good to see you. We'll talk next week. We'll try to get back to our normal routine, buddy.
Please, March is crazy, isn't it?
March is crazy, for sure. Eric, good to see you. Thanks for joining us.
Yep, thanks.
Make sure to subscribe to the Market Talk YouTube channel. You can watch our latest interviews with top market analysts in the country, find bonus content, and much more. It's It's easy. Just go to youtube.com/@MarketTalkEgg and hit the subscribe button. Or you can search for Market Talk Egg on YouTube.